everyone! Welcome back to another episode of Picture Eyes TV! Have you ever tried going to the groceries or maybe supermarket with your parents, with your mom, or with your ates or titas? Have you seen different parts of the meat hanging in front of the meat stall or maybe placed in refrigerators in the groceries? This, my friends, are actually what you call meat cuts. And for today, we will be discussing the different meat cuts that are available in the groceries and in the wet markets. First, let's talk about carcass. What do you mean by carcass? Carcass refers to the slaughtered body of the animal that is used as food. And generally, a carcass of an animal is divided into two general kinds of meat cuts, which are wholesale cut and retail cut. When we talk about wholesale cut, this is a meat cut in which the carcass is cut into large pieces. Like for example, one whole leg of the animal, or maybe one half of the body of the animal, or the whole head of the animal. That's wholesale cut. When we talk about retail cut, it refers to the carcass that is cut into smaller pieces. Like when you go to the wet markets, you will hear lomo or kasim or whatever part that you want to buy. These are specific retail cuts that we can buy in wet markets. That's the same when you go to the groceries, when you will see, where you will see a ribeye steak or T-bone steak or loin or belly. These are also kinds of retail cuts. Generally, retail cut is classified into four kinds. What are these? We have the what we call tender cut, and then the less tender cut, the tough cut, and the variety cut. Now, let's talk about the first one, tender cut. The tender cut is located in the upper half part of the animal along the backbone. It is called tender because it has the least or the smallest amount of connective tissues in the part of the animal. You want to know why? Well, because when the animal was still alive, this part is the least exercised part or the least used part. That is why it is not able to develop more connective tissues that makes it tender, the most tender of all parts of the animal. And because it's the most tender and it has the least amount of connective tissues, it is also the most expensive. In Tagalog terms, when you go to the wet market, this is what they call lomo. Pure meat and tender meat. When you go to the groceries, this is what they call tenderloin or pork loin or sirloin. Or there are parts of it which are called the T-bone steak or the ribeye steak. These are all parts of the tender cut. And they require less time for cooking just because they are the most tender. That's the first one. We go to the second one, the less tender cut. Where is this located? The less tender cut is located along the shoulder and neck portions. This one has moderate amount of connective tissues because as compared to the back of the animal, this is more used. Therefore, it has developed more connective tissues as compared to the tender cut. In Tagalog terms, when you go to the groceries, they call this kasim. Now, in order to break the connective tissues, most of the time, this part is sold ground. Therefore, that gives birth to ground pork or ground beef or ground meat. When you go to the groceries, you will see ground meat. This is from the less tender cut. They usually sell it ground in order to break the connective tissues. When you see lean ground meat, that comes from the loin part, which is the most tender. That is why the lean ground meat is more expensive. Now, going back to the less tender cut, this can also be used for other recipes like adobo, menudo, pork afritada, mechado. That is the less tender cut. We go to the third, tough cut. What is this? The tough cut is located in the lower half part of the animal. So this would refer to the legs and to the belly. These are actually the parts that require longer cooking time because they have the biggest amount of connective tissues. Why? Because this part of the animal, being in the lowest part, is actually the most exercised part of the animal. That is why it is able to develop more connective tissues and they become tough. So most of the time, this would require moist heating or cooking, like boiling and stewing or pressure cooking, in order for it to be tender. Then the last, we have the variety cut. Variety because it consists of different parts of the animal, and these are the internal organs of the animal. So it would refer to the heart of the animal, to the kidney, to the lungs, to the intestines. These are variety cuts. Okay, so people, when they buy this, they buy them depending on the kind of recipe that will be cooked for the family. I just want you to take note that before I end this video, when you want to cook something with soup, it is always preferable to buy the part of the animal that has the bones, because the bones add to more flavorful soup of your meat dish. Alright, so these are the different meat cuts that are available in the market. You will notice that when you go to the groceries, there are more specific retail cuts. Then that is now depending on the kind of dishes or recipes that you want to cook. But once again, these are those general cuts or meat cuts that you can buy from the market. And I hope that you learned a lot from this video that I shared with you today. For some questions or for some topics that you want to discuss in your classes, PLE and Home Economic teachers, you can write your comment in the comment section and we'll try to provide videos that can help you to discuss these lessons in your classes. And if you learned a lot from this video, I hope that you will like and share this video to everyone that you know. And if you have not yet subscribed in my YouTube channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos and updates. Once again, this is Miss Papa for Teacher Ice TV. I'll see you again in our next videos. Thank you for watching.